So you all cannot see this right now. Let me duplicate the displays for a moment. All right. So project 1 I have hidden so far, but I'm going to reveal it now. And project 1 is an heirloom fabric challenge. So what we're working with here, folks, is somebody that already has an item, whether that be a chair for interior designers or what's called a carpet bag for fashion designers. And if fashion designers, you're not familiar with the term carpet bag, I'll show you an example. Yes, it's what Mary Poppins has. So it's like those big bags that are made of like a rugged kind of fabric. They were literally sometimes made of carpeting fabric. That's why they're called carpet bags. But you have somebody who already has an item that they are married to and that they want in their final design. This means, as a designer, you don't get input as to what that fabric choice is. They might not even be like, this is my favorite fabric in the whole world, but it was my grandfather's chair, and so it's very important to me. Or it was my grandma's carpet bag, so I want to honor it. Or they just might have a different taste than you. So the purpose of this project is to provide you with experience working with a given challenge to the extent that you got to make it work. So if you ever watch Project Runway, Tim Gunn, it's going to be designers make it work time. So the scenario, for interior design, I'll read your scenario first, and then I will skip down to the fashion design version. If you are in this class as an elective and you're neither in the interior design or fashion design program, you can pick one or the other, whichever sounds like more fun to you. So the scenario for interior design is your client is determined to keep the family heirloom antique chair complete with existing fabric as part of her newly refurbished living room. As a designer, you cannot convince her otherwise. In order to maintain your good relationship with the client and hopefully future business, you agree to oblige her by working the piece into your proposed color scheme. Project requirements are going to be a digital color board that include upholstery, materials, finishes, and more to complement the heirloom fabric chair. For fashion, your scenario is your client is determined to keep a family heirloom vintage carpet bag, purse, made of the provided sample fabric. She's attending an upscale but non-formal event, and in order to highlight the bag, wishes to have an ensemble designed around it. As a designer, you cannot convince her otherwise. In order to maintain your good relationship with this client and hopefully future business, you agree to oblige her by working the piece into your proposed ensemble. So for interior design, you will be creating a digital color board. I'll explain to you what that is. It's basically the same process as you've probably created other color boards or sample boards for other classes. Except for this time we're just doing it digitally. I'll show you two options that I tend to use a lot. And for fashion, you are going to do a color board, but because you have a lot fewer fabrics that you need to choose from, such as I'm not asking you for 2 other seatings and the curtain treatment and the pillows and the carpet and all of that. You're going to actually design an outfit for this, so that's going to require a fashion rendering. You can use croquis for this project. If you don't know what a croquis is and you're a fashion person, talk to me and I'll get you caught up to speed. But croquis are essentially like pre-made models, and you just draw the garments on top of it. That drawing does not need to be in color. It can be black and white and pencil. I do have marker paper here as well as markers if you want to try your hand at rendering those colors. So let's see. Let's look at interior design first. So your digital color board is going to include the following for interior design. You are going to show along with the board the fabric sample. In this case, it means you're going to take a picture of it and include it into your board. You're going to have 2 to 3 additional upholstery samples. mix pattern and texture. You don't necessarily need to show photos of additional seating pieces, just the upholstery that will be on those pieces. We don't want any solid solids, i.e. like velvet or finely woven fabric that's just one color. We want to look for other textures as well. If you want to include some solids, you're welcome to, but you need at least 2 other fabrics that are not complete solids that you could mix and match with the existing fabric that you've been given. You'll want flooring, wall covering, or paint. Other things like window treatments, pillows, artwork, etc. can be included in these design boards. Tips for your color boards: you're going to want clear, cropped, or background removed photos. I'll show you how to do this. Consider overlapping samples, neatly arranged samples, samples labeled with appropriately sized font, so you know, something like seating 1, seating 2, seating 3, or couch, original chair, accent chair. Include implied border, so we won't want to have things like running over the edges of our design, and best use of positive and negative space. So we're still trying to think about how we're arranging things to be attractive on the board as well. You can use some pictures of seating and things like that too if you want to enhance your board, but it's not required. All right, so the grading criteria is here, which is the same for both. It'll be additional selections work with the original fabric sample, good use of pattern and texture, creativity and originality, and a portfolio-ready color board with neatness and professionalism, as well as the ability to follow instructions. You'll be submitting this as a digital assignment. I might need to edit that so that you can submit a file. Oh, it says upload a file, so we should be good. And then for fashion, your color board is going to include an illustration of the garment design. Oh, it says rendered in color. I will mix that out. It's going to be either rendered in, it can be rendered in just black and white pencil or pen, but you can add color if you want to. And then you're going to show along with the board the instructor provided fabric sample, so you'll take a picture of it, impose it on your drawing, and then 2 to 3 additional fabric samples to represent a complex garment. No solid solids, same deal as the interior design folks. You'll want an accessory representation, so like a headdress or jewelry, and as well as footwear representation. Maybe we're going to grab a cool leather out of the leather samples and say our shoes are going to be made of that. Tips for color boards, pretty much the same thing here. And the grading criteria is the same. What I want to talk to you about is ways that you can create these digital color boards. So you can either, this is not exactly the same thing here, but last semester, or no, in the fall when I teach rendering, we have an assignment where you're going to select like 20 different fabrics and we're going to render them in multiple different media. I made some color boards as an example of the type of fabrics you might be selecting for that. So you'll take a picture of this, and the easy way to deal with like edges and things like that is simply to crop it down so that you don't see any of the edges. You can also lay out your fabrics beforehand and take like a flat lay style photo if you're like, I really enjoy doing that more than all of the digital editing. But here I just have things cropped. I tried to get things with like a little bit of shine, but not so much shine I couldn't see like the tile in here. If they're flat things like papers, you could take them down to the Visual Arts Lab and scan them in. But usually a photo from your phone, as long as you're trying to be aware of the lighting and like not putting a big shadow over it, so don't stand directly under one of these lights and take your photo. Try to find a place that's kind of in the between the 2 lights, and then you can take your photo better, or set it all the way down on the floor and you'll get less shadow from your arms. and your phone. Or you can prop it up against the board and take a picture of it that way. That way you're not dealing at all with casting a shadow. You can arrange it in a PowerPoint like this if you would like, or you can use, sometimes I use Canva to do little arrangements like this, and you can simply say create, and then I usually just do like a poster. I can just poster. We could just do like a landscape 4x3, and then I can bring in from here. I don't know if I have like any fabric scanned in here right now. Well, I have this. This is wool I dyed myself. So I could bring this in. On here, I believe that the background remover is a paid option, so you'd have to have a paid Canva thing. But it does a pretty good job removing the background like that. I also wouldn't mind even the original, because the background has been kind of considered in the photo, but it's not like a picture of like wrinkled sheets on your bed or something like that. Or like my horror story one is like, one time I had a student send me a picture of their work and they didn't crop it at all, and it was just on their bed, and there was like a pair of underwear in the picture, and it was like, what? Like, come on guys, think about what's in the background of your photos. You want it to seem professional still. So yeah, I could like throw this in there. That's a pattern I designed. If I was designing around the colors in this, maybe I would choose these actually, slightly recolored version. And I'm probably not gonna have it all, that's really weird. Oh, because it's doing the background removal. Okay. I'm not going to like angle them like weirdly and just kind of mishmash them together. I'm going to, I'm just pulling random things from my uploads right now. I'm going to try to make them look nice and neat and kind of make sense. And then I could come in and add things like text. But this can also be done on PowerPoint. And PowerPoint has a free background remover. So I'm just going to look up a picture of some fabric. And let's go to images and see if I can find something here. I'm going to save image as. You are also welcome. Oh, that's a web app file. I don't want that. I want to look for something that's a JPEG or a PNG. The web app files are just essentially links to something online. Let's see, image as. And they're really common because they're trying to avoid people doing exactly what I'm doing, which is stealing the photo of their fabric. Let's... Ah! That's a JPEG. Sorry. I didn't want to scare anyone. And then if I brought this into... Let's just do a new slide. I can delete out this stuff, or I can select a blank and go to Insert, Picture, this device. I just downloaded this, and I can click on this, and then up in the search, because it kind of keeps moving around where they're putting it in the menu, I just type in background, remover. Oh. You used to be able to do it. Let's see. picture, format picture, arrange, change. Oh, okay. Here's remove background. So it's under, you have to click on this to get picture and go to remove background. And it does a decent job of removing it. If I was like, oh, I don't really want whatever this is here, I could say, where did that little thing go? There's a way to tell it that you want it to, maybe, it's not in crop. I mean, that's good enough. Okay. Yeah, they might have eliminated some of the ability to come in and like specifically be like, I don't want that either. But I could always like crop it out if I decided I didn't want that that edge in. I could be like, let's just crop it to be like that. And then I can, you know, pull it over here. So there's plenty of options for removing the backgrounds, even if you're like, oh, I took this picture and now I can't find the fabric, but I only have like one with like a terrible background. You can use the background remover. There are also other free tools online that you can look for that will remove backgrounds from photos. So you'll just kind of be creating a collage, essentially. But the things to think about are pulling out fabric colors, like looking at the different colors that are in your given fabric, trying to match them, or do near matches to other fabrics. We have our full sample room. How many of you have not been in the sample room before? Okay, so several of you. Let's, I'm going to give you a little bit of a tour. I'm going to end this video, and on Tuesday I'll go into a bit more in depth on how to set these things up. Today I mostly want to give you time to work on your color sheets as well as you know, forage for things through the sample room, because that's like one thing that you don't really have access to as much outside of class, unless you're up here for something else.
So the fabrics that we find for this project should be from the sample room?
From the sample room. You could find them online too, since we're doing a digital board. And yeah, any other questions before I end the recording for project 1? So it's going to be due a week from today, I believe, on the 19th. Right, that's a week from today. Yep. So you'll have over the weekend to work on this as well. And we'll have some class time on Tuesday, a little bit. We're going to be mixing some color, but I think we'll be good to go as far as having a little bit of time to like pull extra things from the sample room. But yeah, tonight I'd be, you know, I go for like a wide net approach, whereas I will pull out a lot of things and then maybe only end up using like 5 or 6 of them. But because we're not having to cut them up and put them on a board, we can return them to the sample room too. So you don't need to feel like, I'm stealing all these samples. Because even if you have your phone tonight and you just want to go in there and snap pictures while you're looking through things, just double check them after you snap them and make sure they look decent. Any other questions? This is kind of like a fun first project because hopefully you got a fabric that maybe you don't completely hate, but if you do completely hate it, part of the fun is finding a way to like still make something that looks nice, because you're not always going to have the same taste as your client. Hopefully sometimes your client has sought you out because they're like, I like what you do, but sometimes it's just like, especially when you're first starting out, well, this is my grandma's friend, and she's choosing me because I'm my grandma's granddaughter, you know? And, like, my mom always asks me to, like, oh, put together a design for me. And I'm like, Mom, we have nothing in common design wise. You're gonna dislike everything I choose. But over the years, I've gotten better at choosing things that I know that she'll like. So, you know, you learn to do this. It's a fun exercise in that. And it shouldn't be horribly time intensive or anything like that. Especially since I'm not making you actually cut out and glue things. So, yee. All right. Going to stop the recording.